Hello, my name is Tavares and I will present a study that we made in the PsyLab context entitled Determinants of the Intentions to Use Performance-Enhancing Substances among Portuguese gym users. Nowadays, there is recognition that the use of performance-enhancing substances, legal or illegal, can occur at all levels of sports and is also spread through health clubs, gymnasia and other recreational activities. This situation is seen as a problematic phenomenon since it has potential to grow and could be seen as an emerging public health and societal concern. The research based on past use among gym users is limited, and developing knowledge is imperative in orienting preventive efforts since the long-term use of these substances such as anabolic androgenic steroids, stimulants, erythropoietin, human growth hormone and diuretics have the capacity to impart significant performance-enhancing effects that in the long-term use can be associated with several physical disorders, psychological symptoms or even fatal side effects. The study on doping prevention, commissioned by the European Commission in 2014, stressed that is needed information about the prevalence of past use as well as the determinants and correlates of the use of these substances in order to improve the prevention of doping in recreational sport. On the other hand, the Portuguese National Plan for Reduction of Addictive Behaviors and Dependencies claims that the use of PES by gym users is a pertinent and current topic, particularly in the field of public health. In this context, and since there are practically no studies or theoretical knowledge about the determinants factors that influence PES use in Portuguese gym users, it is necessary to investigate the reality of gym settings, considering that this behavior can be associated with dangerous side effects or even fatal with long-term use. In recent years, there has been a growing interest in research into the psychosocial factors associated with the propensity to use PES by health and recreational athletes, in particular the study of attitudes as a multidimensional concept, since it provides essential elements for understanding the psychological mechanisms conducive to behavior, supporting prevention strategies, and, in this sense, studies in this area focus on social cognitive models towards identifying the influential factors on PES use intention and behavior, showing that the theory planned behavior provides a good framework to better understand such behaviors. In addition to the central variables of theory of planned behavior, researchers have also explored the demographic predictors of PES use, and some results show that gender could be a predictor of vulnerability to use these substances. To evaluate or taking in account these facts, and based on the conceptual model of theory of planned behavior, the aims of the present study were threefold. First, to evaluate whether the intention to use PES in a sample of gym users could be predicted by the variables considered within this theory, and to examine theory planned behavior usefulness in predicting PES in both genders, and finally, to evaluate whether intention to use PES predict PES use. Based on review literature in this area, it is expected that The theory of planned behavior variables will significantly predict past use intentions in our sample of gym users. The predictive model in study will be invariant across genders, and males will have more favorable attitudes, subjective norms, beliefs, and intentions to use pairs than females, and intentions will predict self-reported pairs use. The research design employed was a quantitative, cross-sectional, descriptive study. Ethical approval for conducting this survey was obtained from the University Ethics Board of the Faculty of Human Kinetics before data collection. A convenient sample of 453 Portuguese gym users aged between 16 and 79 years old participate in this research. Data collection took place between October and November in 2017. Participants were recruited by gym and fitness center clubs in Great Lisbon, who advertised the study using their institutional email and Facebook accounts. Prior to data collection, the survey web link directed potential participants to an informed consent page where additional information about the study was provided, specifying the method used to ensure confidentiality and anonymity. Then, a web-based survey administered via RedCap software was utilized to collect the data. The variables derived from the theory of planned behavior were measured by the questionnaire of attitudes towards doping in fitness, which contains 16 items that measure 4 dimensions: attitudes, beliefs, subjective norms, and intentions. All items were answered on a 7-point Likert type scale, where a higher score indicates a more positive attitude towards past consumption. For data analysis, we used different approaches according to the aims of the study, namely a confirmatory factor analysis to estimate the measurement components of the constructs in the theory of planned behavior, where the assessment of model fit was based on multiple indicators. The structural model, whereby the measurement and structural components were simultaneously estimated, which was performed to test the first and second hypotheses. To compare theory planned behavior variables and intentions to past use between gender, a t-test with Welsh correction and a probed regression to test hypothesis that the use of past would be predicted by intentions was performed with the Lavin package. In our study, based on previous findings, it was expected that theory of planned behavior variables would predict intentions to use past in our sample of gym users. From the application of the CAT fit, results support this hypothesis, as attitudes, subjective norms, and beliefs significantly predict past use intentions, and the 75% of variance associated with past use intention was accounted for by its 3 predictors, namely attitudes, subjective norms, and beliefs. Although in general our participants reject past use, subjective norms were the strongest predictor of past use intentions. In general, the model fit for structural models was found to be satisfactory for both female and male subsamples. Then we test the hypothesis that the model was invariant across gender. As shown in Table 1, the results of the goodness of fit for the configural invariance test indicate that structural patterns are similar across groups, and since the 3 invariance tests were all satisfied, the hypothesis of invariance of the predictive model across gender could not be rejected. After verifying the scalar measurement invariance between genders, we test hypotheses that males would show more favorable attitudes, subjective norms, beliefs and intentions to use PES than their female counterparts. As we can see in Table 2, results indicate significant difference in intentions, subjective norms and beliefs. However, there was no significant difference in attitudes. The mean scores of female gym users were lower than those of the male gym users, with a small effect size associated. At the time of the data collection, 11.1% of the participants report current use of PES. In this sense, and concerning that hypothesis that the use of PES, self-reported, would be predicted by intentions, results showed that attitudes, subjective norms and beliefs were significant predictors of intention, explaining 75% of its variance. In turn, intentions predict the self-reported PES use, explaining 44% of its variance. In sum, our study established the theory of planned behavior as an appropriate model for understanding determinants that may predict PES use intention in this specific population, showing that subjective norms were the strongest predictor of intention to use PES, suggesting that the gym user, psychosocial environment, namely the influence of significant others, may be the primary drive of the decision to use PES. In line with other studies, our results showed that females believe less in the performance-enhancing effects of these substances, were less susceptible to the influence of significant others, and had weaker intentions to use PES than males, meaning that to improve effectiveness of PES use prevention, interventions in gym users using theory planned behavior constructs needs to be considered differently in females and males. Finally, we hypothesize that intentions would predict self-reported use of PES. In alignment with other studies, our results show a significant relationship between self-reported PES use and intentions to use. In the present study, despite the tendency for participants to underreport this behavior, the strong predictive capacity of intention confirms the volitive self-determined characteristics of PES use. These findings provide information which can contribute to building multifaceted interventions for the prevention of PES use in gym and fitness context. However, future research should also explore how different facets of the normative conduct significantly predict intentions among gym users, since identification of these facets has been considered vital to improve our understanding of the role of normative beliefs and process not accounted by subjective norms. Thank you very much for your attention.